dear students, welcome back to the class once again. So I hope you all have completed your previous work. So let's start with chapter number 2, that is Industrial Revolution and the Rise of Imperialism. So we'll divide this chapter into two parts, and in the first part we'll discuss about Industrial Revolution, the causes of Industrial Revolution, okay, and in the second part we'll discuss about the impact of the Industrial Revolution, okay, so that it will be easy for you to understand in part wise. So let's start with the chapter. It is also a period of transition, second part of the first chapter. So what is mean by Industrial Revolution? Before going through the meaning of Industrial Revolution, we need to understand about before the revolution took place in the field of industries, what was the system like and how the goods were produced, okay. So it is been mentioned over here that during the medieval period, agriculture was the main occupation of the people. Everybody was associated with the land in some way or the other. The needs of the villagers were simple and very few. That is why whatever they needed was made by the artisans and the craftsmen of the villages. So every village was self-sufficient and had its own weavers, blacksmiths and carpenters and other skilled workers. So whatever was required by the people of the village were provided by the people living in the village itself. Artisans were there, craftsmen were there, whatever. So demands were very few. Okay, they led a very simple life, and in a simple life they don't have a much demand. Okay, at that time what was luxury and all that was not known to them. So what type of tools they use? They use simple tools. Okay, simple tools were used and goods were made at home with the help of family members. The family members were involved in making the goods. The finished products later on were sold in the local market, and this type of system producing was known as the domestic system of production. This production was done entirely at home. The members, the family were involved in the making of the goods. So this system of production is known as domestic system of production, which was done at home. But as time passed, as population went on increasing and the exploration and discoveries of new lands took place, okay, then there was a growth of towns and cities. Towns and cities emerged, and a wealthy middle class also was born. So with the increase of wealth, the lifestyle of the people also started increasing, and the demand of the goods also went on increasing. Okay, demands of the goods also went on increasing, and that time this domestic system of production could not fulfill the demands of the people. So then they needed an alternative way to fulfill the demands of the people, and that after that improved system was needed, and for that what did they do? Modified some more effective machines, okay, modified a more effective system evolved that time, and that system was known as putting out system. That system was completely known as putting out system, in which raw materials were provided by the merchants to the artisans. Materials were provided to the artisans by the merchants, and merchants later on they carried the finished goods and sold in the market or the distant market. Before, whatever was required, we all used to produce it, but now that other people also require this type of goods, so what to do? The merchants, they provided the artisans with raw materials, okay, and raw materials were made into a finished good by the artisans, and later merchant sold those goods in the market, okay, distant market. So this was known as putting out a system. So if you want to go in a proper way, then I would like to tell you what is meant by putting out system. So putting out system was a system under which merchants put out or supplied raw materials to the artisans and later sold the finished product in the distant market. That was known as putting out a system. Okay, that was known as putting out a system. Okay, now as you know that by the middle of 18th century, a series of remarkable inventions led to the economic revolution in England, which came to be known as Industrial Revolution. Revolution in the field of industries. The production increased manifold. Okay, domestic system of production was replaced by factory system of production to fulfill the demands of the people in general. Okay, so factory system of production definitely involves a lot of inventions. So during those time, inventions took place. New machines like spinning jenny, flying shuttle, okay, cotton gin, okay, then again many more inventions took place. We'll discuss slowly, okay, and all those inventions helped to boost up the production through the industries. Okay, so that was a time of transformation from a domestic system of production to the factory system of production. Now what were the features of Industrial Revolution? Features of Industrial Revolution. If you are asked to know what is meant by Industrial Revolution, definitely Industrial Revolution means production increase manifolds, okay, and that revolutionized the entire factory system, okay. That is known as Industrial Revolution. Before that, you might have heard about Green Revolution. Green Revolution increased the production of crops, and same way Industrial Revolution increased the production of goods. Okay, so that is all about Industrial Revolution. So revolution took place in England. So later on we will discuss why this revolution took place in England. So what are the features, or what were the features of Industrial Revolution? So some of the important features or the main features of Industrial Revolutions are as follows. Number one, you know, domestic system of production was replaced by a factory system of production. Domestic system of production was replaced by factory system of production. Number one. Manual labor was replaced by machines. Before, people used to do it by hand. Now those works were done by the machines. Okay, so manual labor was replaced by machines. The next one, small scale production gave way to large scale production. Before, production was done in a small scale, small quantities. Now the production increased to large quantities. Okay, so small scale production was replaced by, or it gave way to large scale production. So these were some of the important features of Industrial Revolution. Now all this large scale production was carried out in factories. Okay, before it was carried out at homes in a small numbers. Now it started taking place in the factories and all. Okay, so factories at that time were owned by rich merchants. They were known as capitalists, or the people who own the capital. Capital means you need to have wealth to set up factories. Okay, so they were known as capitalists, or people who own the capital. So now let us discuss about the most important topic. Whenever I teach, I always raise the question, why did Industrial Revolution took place, or why did Industrial Revolution take place in England? Okay, so why did Industrial Revolution started in England? Why not in other parts of the world? Why not in other countries? So very simple, my dear. Certain points are there which were favorable for the promotion of industrial growth in England. So number one is surplus capital. So number one is surplus capital. So economic growth and an increased overseas trade led to the accumulation of enormous wealth in England. and this surplus capital was used in the development of new industries and in setting up new factories. So enormous wealth. So it was possible due to overseas trade. They had trade with distant land, okay, and due to that wealth was accumulated, and those wealth was utilized in setting up new industries and setting up new factories. Surplus capital. Okay. The next one is a stable government. So definitely for the development of the country, you need to get the full support of the government, and the government of England was very progressive. Their main their main motive was to develop the country, and the development of the country takes place when you promote trade and commerce. Okay. So two important parties are there, Labour Party and Conservative Party. So both the parties, whenever they came in power, they focused on developing their country, and for that they supported trade and commerce. Okay. So political stability in England provided conditions that were favorable for the economic growth. Okay. So always government support is very much important, okay, very much required in the development of the country. So next one is agricultural revolution. So as you know that agricultural revolution already had taken place, okay, before the industrial revolution. Got it? So agricultural revolution took place, and that reduced the manual labor, use of manual labor. Okay, and not only that, my dear, land holdings, rich people, what did they do was that they, through the enclosure movement, okay, they purchased lands from the peasants, lands from the poor farmers, and they enclosed fences. That means a boundary wall was set up, and through that they started doing the agricultural process. Okay, so what is meant by enclosures? So enclosures were large farms, fields enclosed by the fences or hedges. The wealthy landlords bought the enclosed land that was once owned by the poor village farmers. Once it was owned by poor village farmers, now it is owned by the rich landlords. Okay, so with that many of the farmers, they lost their job also, they became unemployed. So that we'll discuss again. So due to the consolidation of land, bringing all the small lands together and consolidating it through enclosure, that improved the agricultural method. Okay, and through the rotation of crops, and the introduction of new farming machinery with increased agricultural production. So what is the context in the industrial revolution? So it is mentioned that due to agricultural revolution, many of the farmers who were involved in the agriculture, now they became jobless. Now they could now provide maximum labor to work in the factory. So these people who lost their job due to enclosure movement, now they migrated to the city areas where factories were set up. So the next topic is availability of cheap labor. So due to enclosure movement, okay, when the landlords bought the lands from the farmers, farmers, they became jobless. Okay, so now they moved towards, or we can say they migrated to towns and cities in search of jobs. Okay, and already works were there, and they were ready to serve at a low wages. So their labor charge was very cheap. Okay, so it has been mentioned again, due to enclosure movement. Okay, enclosure movement led to the takeover of lands by rich landlords, and so the small landless farmers migrated to towns and cities in search of employment in factories, and there they provided a readily available for poor and cheap labor. They were ready to work at a very low wages. Okay, and that was done due to enclosure movement. Okay, next one is that is cheap labor, we have already discussed. Next one is availability of coal and iron. So definitely, in order to run factories, in order to run set up industries and all, you need to have a coal and iron. So definitely, northern part of England had abundant supply of coal and iron. So coal and iron are the two essential resources necessary for the growth of industries, and that was available in at large quantities in northern England. Many industrial towns and cities were located in this region. Many industrial towns and cities were located in this region. So definitely, wherever this type of requirements are there, definitely factories will be set up there, right? Coal and iron was abundant in supply over there, so factories were set up over there. Got it? Otherwise, if they set up factories in a distant land or far away from the area, then the cost of production definitely will go high, and again the carrying charge and all, so that will be of a great difficulty. Okay, so availability of coal and iron. So number one, surplus capital. Number two, due to stable government, and then agricultural revolution, then availability of cheap labor, then availability of coal and iron. Okay, and during that period itself, a number of major inventions took place, and that boosted of the industrial growth in England. Okay, so that was a time which was very much favorable, or we can say very much conducive for creativity. Okay, and then it was a cotton industry set up at Lancashire, now particularly known as Manchester also. It became the cotton industry, center of cotton industry in England. Okay, and this was followed by further revolutionary inventions, like for your general knowledge also you can remember it. New machines such as Hargreaves spinning jenny. Spinning jenny was invented by Hargreaves. Okay, flying shuttle was invented by John Case. Water frame was invented by Arkwright. Okay, power loom was invented by Cartwright, and cotton gin was invented by Eli Whitney. Okay, and after that, a famous invention by James Watt, that was steam engine. Okay, then again safety lamp was invented by Davis. Okay, which helped to extract coal from the coal mines. Lamp was required to go underground to extract coal. Coal. Then again, other steam locomotives was also invented by George Stephenson. Road building technique was introduced by John Macadams. Then again, incandescent lamp was invented by Thomas Edison. Then telephone, Graham Bell. Okay, and telegraph was invented by Marconi. So these were the inventions which took place in different fields, which boosted of the industrial growth in England. So this way, my dear, industrial revolution took place due to number of reasons, number of factors were also there, which was very much supportive or conducive for the growth of industries in England. So slowly and gradually, my dear, industrial revolution spread to different parts of the world. And you know that the England has a best navy power, and they were the strongest in the world. Okay, and due to their strength, okay, England had acquired large number of colonies. So British Empire was large, my dear. India also was once the colony of the British Empire. Okay, and these colonies, my dear, served two purposes for the Britishers. Like it was taken as a source of raw materials and a market for their finished goods. So these colonies were used as suppliers of cheap raw materials and ready markets for finished products. So this stimulated the industrial growth. Okay, so when you produce, you need to sell your goods, and for that you need a market, and those markets were readily available for English. Okay, so India also was once the colony of the British Empire, and we served them by providing them raw materials at cheap rate, and due to that lot of problems started in our country, like people lost their jobs and all. Okay, farmers, artisans, craftsmen, they lost their jobs and they became unemployed. So all these things we'll discuss later on in the coming chapters. So slowly and gradually industrial revolution spread to different parts of the world also. Okay, in through different phases. So mechanized industries were introduced in France, Germany, USA and Japan. Germany made rapid progress after the unification in the year 1871. Germany, you know that Germany developed the industries very fast because they wanted to prove the world that they are the best. So within 10 years they reached up to the level of England. Okay, after the unification of Germany, Germany was a scattered country. Okay, it was not a united country. So due to the effort of Otto von Bismarck and all, Germany was unified. Then the economic progress and development started. So during that period, industries were set up for the rapid growth of the country. So after the unification in the year 1871, okay, Germany became one of the leading industrial nation in Europe. Leading industrial nation in Europe. Okay, and Britain, then after that, Britain gradually lost its lead by the end of 19th century, because before only one was there in the race, Britain was there, and later on other countries also started becoming an industrial power, and they also entered into the colonial race in hunt for more and more colonies. Okay, and later on USA also surged ahead of Britain. USA also surged ahead of Britain, moved ahead of Britain, and made major progress in the iron and steel industry. USA also made some major progress in the iron and steel industry. So it soon became one of the most, or we can say that it became one of the leading industrial nation of the world. Industrialization in Russia was a bit slow, picked up after the Russian Revolution. After the Russian Revolution of 1917, in 1917 revolution took place, and through that, after the end of the revolution, a new government was set up, communist government was set up, okay, and then they started working in the field of industries. So next one, Japan. Japan was the first Asian country to become industrialized. In Asia, Japan was the first country to become industrialized. Okay, so this is all about the spread of industrial revolution. Okay, my dear children. So now once again, let me revise it once again. Domestic system was replaced by factory system. Okay, and what is meant by domestic system? Once again, it was a system of production of goods by craftsmen and artisans at home with the help of their family members using simple tools. The next one is putting out system. It was a system under which merchants put out, or that means merchants supplied the raw materials to the artisans and later sold the finished products in the distant markets. Then all these systems were replaced by a factory system. Factory system was a system where goods were produced in factories on large scale using machines instead of simple tools. Then what is meant by enclosures? Enclosures were large farms, fields enclosed by fences or hedges. The wealthy landlords bought and enclosed the lands that was once owned by the poor village farmers. Which was once owned by village farmers. Okay, dear. Now, all this thing. So it is. Let me ask you one. That did you know in the early 18th century English iron maker Abraham Darby discovered how to make iron using coal. It was Abraham Darby. He discovered how to make iron using coal, which was more easily available than wood. And due to this, it led to the rapid growth in the production of iron, which was used to make tools and machinery. So Darby's son constructed the first iron bridge over the river Severn in West Britain. So these are some of the hidden facts, my dear, which we overlook. We should go through it so that our general knowledge will also improve. Okay. Now, due to the industrial growth and the industrial revolution, a capitalist class emerged, my dear. So who all are known as? So later on, the capitalist system also started in different parts of the world. What is mean by capitalism? What is mean by capital? What is mean by capitalism or capitalist system? It is a system, we'll discuss in the next part. It is a system in which the rich becomes richer and poor becomes poorer and poorer, because wealth is concentrated in the hand of capitalist class, only the people who own the factories, and they simply pay wages to the workers at a very low price. That means the wages are very, very low. Okay, so domestic system of production was replaced by factory system of production, and factory system definitely spread to the different parts of the world. And during that time, many of the inventions took place which facilitated the growth of more and more machines, and due to which the manual labor was replaced by machines. So this happened in both, in agricultural sector also manual labor was replaced by machines, and all in the factory system also this was done. That is why who suffered at the end? The workers, they suffered at the end because the life became more and more pathetic. Okay, so in the next class we'll discuss about the impact of industrial revolution. We are going to discuss about the impact of industrial revolution. Okay, now I'm going to put out few questions for you. Okay, like you can write down in your copies also, like few questions. Explain the term domestic system. Define the term industrial revolution. Why were trade union forms? Okay, leave it. These two only. Explain the term domestic system. Define the term industrial revolution. What is mean by factory system? What is mean by enclosures? Okay. Then again, what is mean by capitalism? Okay, these are few questions which you have to write down in your copies as a homework. Okay, and if you want to do fill in the blank, then I'm going to give it down. You can note it down. Dash and dash are the two basic resources essential for the industrial growth. Colonies were used as dash as cheap raw materials and dash for the finished products. Socialism was okay, only two. Okay, and after completing I'll give you more and more. Okay, so you have to write down in your copies, my dear. You have to write down in your copies. So we have come to the end of this chapter part 1, industrial revolution, rise of imperialism, part 1. We have done it. Okay, so in this we have come to know, we learned what is meant by industrial revolution, what are the important features of industrial revolution. Okay, then we discussed what were the causes of industrial revolution. So we can make two. What were the causes of industrial revolution, or the question can be, why did industrial revolution take place in England? So the answer is due to surplus capital, due to stable government, due to agricultural revolution, and due to availability of cheap labor, then again availability of coal and iron. Okay, and invention of major invention took place during that period. So you might have heard about steam engine. Okay, steam engine. So steam engine, who invented steam engine? Homework for you. Who invented steam engine? I'm giving you few questions again for a general knowledge. Who invented flying shuttle, power loom, cotton gin? Okay, then steam engine, safety lamp, then steam locomotive, incandescent lamp, telephone, and telegraph. Okay, telegraph. So you have to write down who invented, the name of the person who invented this. Okay, so let us end our class right here. We'll meet again in the next class. Till then, please complete your work in your copies and show me in the given number. Okay, so till then, take care. We'll meet very soon. Okay, so take care, stay safe. Bye bye.